Hi guys, I Aziz welcome you to CoedMaster, and in this video I am going to talk about iterators and list iterators. I will show you how to use iterators and list iterators and what are the methods provided by list iterator and iterators and how to use them. So guys, if you are willing to learn how to use iterators and list iterator efficiently, then this video is for you. So please watch this video till the end. So let's get started. Alright. So guys, in previous video, I talked about the collection hierarchy, and in this collection hierarchy, we saw 4 interfaces, and these are Iterable, List Interface, Iterator Interface, and ListIterator and ListIterator Interface. So before we do practical, let's do a deep dive into Java source code and see where these interfaces actually exist. Okay? And for those who have not watched the previous video, I highly recommend to watch that previous video and come back and continue watching this video. You will find the link of the previous video by clicking on the I button. Okay, now back on the video. So the first interface of the collection hierarchy is Iterable interface. So here you can see the Iterable interface, and this interface defines one method, that is iterator, and the return type of this iterator method is iterator. Okay, now the second interface in this hierarchy is collection. So here is the collection interface, and as you can see that the collection interface extends the Iterable interface. This means collection interface also define this method, that is iterator, and the return type of iterator is iterator. Okay, the next interface in this hierarchy is list iterator. So if you look at the list iterator, you will see that list interface extends collection. This means list iterator defines both the method, one is iterator, okay, and the second one is go down, and there we go. So here we have list iterator method, and the return type of this method is list iterator. So long story short, list interface defines two methods, iterator as well as list iterator, and the return type of iterator is iterator and list iterator is list iterator. Now let's see these two interfaces. One is iterator. Okay, here we go. Here is iterator, and this iterator has 3 methods, has next, and remove. And we will see practical use of these 3 methods in a bit. Okay, and the next interface is list interface. So here we go. Here we have list iterator, and it extends iterator. So it has 9 methods, and that are has next, has previous, next index, previous index, remove, set, and last one is add. Okay, and if we go to any collection class, for example ArrayList, you will see that ArrayList implements list interface. This means ArrayList gives implementation of iterator as well as list iterator method. Okay, now this is all about the interfaces. Now let's move on and see the practical use of all the interfaces and collection. So the first thing is, let's create a collection, name it AL, and create a new ArrayList. Okay, let's add some elements to this collection by calling add method over it. Let's add 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now before we use iterator, let's see the most basic way to iterate through all the elements of the collection. Okay, and we can iterate over all the elements using for loop. So let's see it. Let's write a for loop. Initialize I with 0, I less than equal to ArrayList dot size. Okay, and I plus plus. So ArrayList dot size gives the size of ArrayList, and we are running loop from 0 to less than size. Okay, because indexes are 0 based. Okay, let's print all the elements one by one. So we can use ArrayList dot get method to get the element at particular index and print on the screen. Okay, let's run the program and see the output. Okay, so you can see here all the elements are printed on the screen, 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. So this is the first way to traverse through all the elements of the collection. Now let's see the second way to traverse all the elements of the collection, and that is using for each method of the collection. So we can say al dot for each, and this function is asking consumer. So let's give it a consumer, new consumer. Okay, system.out.println, and print the object. Okay, let's run the program and see the output. Okay, so this is the second way to traverse all the elements, and you can see that all the elements are printed on the screen. But we can optimize this code little bit. So as we know that the consumer is a functional interface, so we can use method reference in place of consumer. So let's use it, system.out, okay, and println, and run the program, and there we go. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and our code is also very short. So these are two ways to traverse through all the elements of the array list or collection. Now here comes the hero of this story, that is Iterator. So let's see the Iterator. So let's create Iterator first. Iterator it is equal to ArrayList dot calling a method Iterator to get the Iterator. Now let's write a while loop and use the first method of Iterator, that is it dot hasNext. Okay, and then print the element one by one. SOUT it dot next. Okay, run the program, and there we go. Here we have all the elements 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so guys, if you look at this Iterator carefully, you will see that there are 4 methods: hasNext, next, remove, and for each remaining. So we have already seen hasNext and next method. Now let's see the remove method. Okay, but before we see remove method, let's do one experiment. Okay, so what we do, while traversing, we will check if the element is 4, then please remove the element at index 3, and the element at index 3 is 4. So let's run the program and see what it does. Boom, we got the error, and the error is concurrent modification exception. So this means that we cannot call collection.remove method while traversing. But guys, if you look at this code carefully, you can see that I am calling remove method directly on collection. Okay, but we can suppress this error using Iterator. So if we call remove method of Iterator, it's going to run fine. Let's run the code and see. Now the element at index 4 is removed, and we end up having only 3 elements, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so this is how next, hasNext, and remove method works in Iterator. So hasNext method simply check if the next element present in the collection or not, and if it is present, then next method gives the element. Okay, so this is all about Iterator. Now let's move on and see how ListIterator works. Okay, so let's convert this Iterator to ListIterator. ListIterator, and ListIterator also has hasNext method and next method. Okay, so for now just comment out this code and let's print the element on the screen. So it or only e. Okay, so let's print the element on the screen, system.out.println and e. Okay, let's comment out this code. So let's run the code and see the output. So see, using ListIterator also we are able to iterate through all the elements of the collection. But ListIterator also has few more additional methods, that is hasPrevious and previous. So let's see how hasPrevious works. So let's write hasPrevious in place of hasNext. hasPrevious, okay, and previous, and we are going to start this Iterator from the last position, and last position is 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's give it 3, run the program, and boom, you can see that the iterator starts from position 3 and third position is 3. So it's going to print all the elements from 3 to 0 in the reverse order. So in this while loop, we instead of going forward, we are going backward. Okay, so this is how we can use hasNext, next, hasPrevious and previous method of the ListIterator object. So this is how we can use hasPrevious and previous method of ListIterator. Now let's see how many methods are there in ListIterator. So it has hasNext, remove, set and add. So we can see all of 3 methods in a bit. So these are remove, set and add. Okay, so before we see set, remove and add, let's do one experiment. Okay, so what we do, we are going to simply use the add method. So let's replace again this with hasNext and this to next, and if we are so here we check if the element is 4, then we are going to remove the element. Okay, give it 3, and now let's see what happens. Let's run the code, and boom, again we got the error, and this error is concurrent modification exception. So this means we cannot use remove method of collection directly inside the while loop while we are traversing the collection. Okay, so this is okay. Now let's try to add new element. Let's say if element is 4, then let's add new element, that is 5. So now let's run the code and see what happens. Again it is giving error, that concurrent modification exception. So we cannot use remove, we cannot use add also. Okay, so this means we cannot use add and remove method directly on the collection while we are traversing collection, but we can use add and remove method of iterator while traversing collection. So this is the main advantage of using iterator and list iterator. So let's see the practical of add and remove method. it.add add 5. So when element is 4, please add 5 to it. Let's run the program and see. Boom, we have 1 2 3 4 5. So previously we have only 1 2 3 4, and after adding one new element we get 1 2 3 4 5. So add method is working on list iterator. Now let's see the remove method. So let's give it remove method. So it will remove the last element, because if e is 4, we are telling him to just remove the last element. Let's run the program and see, and there we go. So we have 1 2 3 4 here, and after removing last element we are left with only 3 elements, 1 2 and 3. Okay, so by now we have seen all the methods of iterator and list iterator. So few methods are still there in iterator, that are previous index or next index. So you can try by yourself all these other methods. Okay, so we have seen 3 methods to traverse the collection. First one is using the for loop, second one is using the for each method, and the third one is using the iterator and list iterator. Now let's see the fourth way to traverse the collection. Okay, and that is using for each loop. Okay, so in for each loop what we have to do, we simply have to give collection, and this for loop internally use iterator. Yes, you heard that absolutely right, that the for loop, and this is an enhanced for loop, right? So this enhanced for loop internally use iterator only to print all the elements on the screen. So let's give it E and run the program, and there we go. See, we have printed all the elements on the screen. So we can say that this for loop is a shorthand for loop for the normal standard for loop. Okay, so we have to write less number of code if we use this for loop. We just have to pass the collection, and it gives us all the elements of the collection, and we just have to print it on the screen. So guys, by now you understood all the possible ways to print and traverse all the elements of the collection. First is using the normal for loop, second one is using the for each method of the collection, third one is using a iterator and list iterator, and fourth one is using the enhanced for loop. So I hope you understood each and everything I have discussed so far. So on this note, let's end this video. So guys, if you have learned something valuable from this video, then please hit the like button in order to make YouTube algorithm happy. Please subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to click the bell icon so my friend you never miss any upcoming video. This is all from my side. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.